Just when Erika Kirk thought the storm had passed, Charlie's parents dropped a bombshell that could ruin everything. A sealed will, hidden from the public, never mentioned during the Turning Point USA transition. And its contents completely contradict the story Erika's been pushing since the day Charlie died. Now, the internet is exploding. How could a grieving widow rewrite an entire legacy while ignoring Charlie's last wishes? And why are his parents only stepping forward now? Because the truth is, they've been holding back, watching, waiting. And now that Erika has moved full speed ahead, replacing Charlie's inner circle, scrubbing old files, and taking over the brand, they've finally had enough. This isn't just about a family feud. This is about deception, betrayal, and a will that changes everything. If you thought the last chapter was wild, buckle up, because Erika's empire is about to crack wide open. When the news broke that Charlie Kirk's hidden will had been leaked, and by none other than his own parents, it sent shockwaves through the political world. No warning, no press release, just a document posted by a private law firm confirmed by an anonymous former Turning Point USA board member and authenticated by a third-party notary. Overnight, the narrative around Charlie's death, and everything Erika Kirk claimed since, started to unravel. The document wasn't long, just 11 pages. But what was inside rocked the foundation of everything Erika had spent the last month building. The will named successors, specific successors. Not Erika, not her hand-picked board members, but 3 longtime allies of Charlie's who had been mysteriously sidelined after his death. People Erika never mentioned once during her transition to CEO. People who had helped Charlie build Turning Point USA from the ground up. And now, their names were listed as the rightful stewards of his legacy. Not in theory. In writing, signed, dated, witnessed. Robert and Kimberly Kirk, Charlie's parents, didn't give a press conference. They didn't even attach a public statement. They just quietly dropped the document and let the world do the rest. And that silence, that choice to say nothing, was louder than any accusation. People went digging immediately. How could this will have existed without anyone knowing? Why hadn't it been mentioned at the funeral? And most of all, why was it ignored? The answer, according to anonymous legal sources, is chilling. Charlie's original will, the one now leaked, was quietly replaced just days after his death with an updated version signed under Emergency Executive Protocol. That second document, filed through a private channel and never disclosed publicly, named Erika Kirk as sole beneficiary and successor to his estate, business holdings, and public influence. But there's a problem. Under Arizona state law, if a previous will is found and proven to have been signed in better mental and physical condition, and especially if it was notarized and witnessed by a legal firm, the newer one can be challenged in court. And that's exactly what Robert and Kimberly Kirk are doing now. The story gained traction faster than anyone expected. Independent journalists began comparing timestamps between the 2 wills. It turns out, Charlie's original document was signed 4 months before his death. The newer one, the one Erika used to seize control, was signed just 48 hours after his death. Let that sink in. A man dies under mysterious circumstances. 2 days later, a new will appears. And the only person who benefits is the grieving widow who, according to multiple insiders, wasn't even involved in executive decision-making prior to Charlie's final tour. And here's where things get even murkier. Multiple staff members at Turning Point USA have now come forward claiming they were told not to ask questions about the change in leadership. One anonymous executive said he was given a script to read anytime someone asked why Erika had suddenly taken over. Another source claims she was told her position would be eliminated if she brought up the original succession plan that Charlie himself had outlined 6 months before his passing. It's no longer just a family issue. It's a corporate war. While Erika continues to appear at speaking engagements and lead public efforts to rebrand TPUSA, her in-laws are filing a formal injunction to stop her from making further decisions until the legality of the wills is sorted out. That means, if the court sides with Charlie's original wishes, Erika could be forced to step down and return every asset she's assumed control of since the takeover. But here's where it turns personal. The leaked will didn't just name successors. It included letters, personal letters, to his parents, to his inner circle, and yes, to Erika. Charlie's letter to his wife is what really shook the internet. He didn't accuse her of anything. He didn't insult her. But he wrote, "If anything happens to me, I hope you'll protect what we built, not change it. Please remember that Turning Point was born from struggle, not strategy. It was never about optics. It was about truth." Those words hit like a gut punch, not because they were cruel, but because they felt like a warning, a plea, a line in the sand between vision and ambition. And it got worse. The letter to his parents included a handwritten postscript, verified by handwriting experts, that said, "If this version of the will is ever questioned, know that I never intended Erika to run TPUSA. Not because I didn't love her, but because I knew what she'd do with it." That one sentence flipped the entire narrative. People who had once defended Erika's swift rise to CEO began turning on her. Conservative influencers who had stayed silent started posting side-eye tweets. Even former TPUSA employees began hinting at deeply troubling things they witnessed during the transition. One viral tweet read, "She didn't grieve, she planned. And now we know why." Supporters began organizing under a new hashtag. Charlie knew, suggesting that even in life, Charlie feared what would happen to his legacy if it fell into the wrong hands. Meanwhile, Erika has gone radio silent. No interviews, no press tours. Her social media pages haven't been updated in days. Insiders say she's holed up in a private retreat, meeting with legal counsel and crisis managers. Because the reality is this: the leaked will isn't just a document, it's a weapon. And Erika's entire empire, built in Charlie's shadow, could now come crashing down in public. If Part 1 was the tremor, Part 2 is the full-blown earthquake shaking Erika's entire empire. The leak of Charlie's original will not only disrupted the narrative she'd been building, it directly contradicted every move she made since stepping into power. And now, the internet isn't just questioning her integrity. They're questioning the legality of her leadership, her rise, and maybe even her marriage. Because this wasn't supposed to happen. This wasn't part of the plan. According to new reports surfacing from inside Turning Point USA, Erika had already begun moving assets around, changing board structures, securing private funding under her own name, and renegotiating contracts that were originally tied to Charlie's personal reputation. Essentially, she wasn't just continuing his work, she was replacing it. And that's exactly why Charlie's parents decided to strike when they did. Sources close to the Kirk family say Robert and Kimberly had remained silent, not out of grief, but out of strategy. They had been gathering documents, watching quietly, waiting for Erika to make one public move too many. And when she authorized the rebranding of Charlie's Faith and Founders initiative into a broader women's empowerment campaign centered around herself, that was the final straw. Charlie wouldn't have stood for it, one former TPUSA board member said. He was fiercely protective of that project. It was his tribute to American faith and his grandfather's military legacy. Seeing it turned into a glossy, influencer-led speaking tour, that's when people started whispering that she'd gone too far. The whispers turned into chatter. And then, when the will leaked, that chatter became a roar. Public trust began to collapse. Online forums flooded with comparisons between Erika's media rollout and the silence of Charlie's grieving family. TikTok users began compiling timelines that highlighted the speed of Erika's transition, side by side with clips of Charlie's speeches, showing just how opposite her tone was from his. And that's when a second leak surfaced. This time, it wasn't from the Kirks. It was from an internal Turning Point USA Slack channel. Screenshots began circulating of Erika allegedly instructing her communications team to reframe Charlie's original messaging and begin pivoting to a more personal narrative built around her widowhood. One chilling message read, "We can't make this about Charlie forever. I'm the face now. We need to own that." The internet exploded. Not just because it confirmed people's worst suspicions, but because it sounded so rehearsed, so cold. The idea that Erika was positioning herself as the new face of a movement founded by her late husband only weeks after his death was too much for many to handle. One political commentator posted, "This isn't grief. This is a power grab in pearls." Erika's defenders tried to push back, calling it misogynistic to assume a woman couldn't lead after her husband's death. But that argument crumbled fast when new evidence emerged showing that Erika had allegedly pushed out several of Charlie's closest allies, all men and women who had worked with him for years, without explanation. Worse, they were replaced by media consultants, image specialists, and publicists with no prior connection to the movement. In short, the revolution had become a brand, and Erika was the logo. Still, the most damning revelation came from an unexpected source. Charlie's personal assistant, a woman named Natalie who had worked with him for 5 years. She stepped forward anonymously through her attorney to share a signed affidavit, stating that Charlie never updated his will, had never verbally expressed any desire for Erika to lead TPUSA, and had once confided in her that he feared what would happen to the organization if branding ever took over belief. Her testimony alone could be enough to support the Kirk family's legal case. But Natalie also dropped one more chilling detail. According to her, Charlie had suspicions in the final months of his life that someone close to him was manipulating his schedule and limiting his access to legal counsel. He told me, "I don't know if I'm paranoid, but I feel like things are moving around me too fast, and not in my control." That line was repeated across every major podcast and YouTube channel within hours. Not in my control. And suddenly, the story had a new villain. Not an outsider, but someone within Charlie's own world. The woman he married. The woman he trusted. The woman now seen as rewriting his legacy in real time. Now, lawyers are involved. Big ones. Media savvy, aggressive, high-powered legal teams hired by both sides. Erika has reportedly hired an entire crisis PR firm based in Los Angeles to manage the fallout. Meanwhile, Charlie's parents are moving forward with a civil suit that could invalidate Erika's control over TPUSA and all affiliated assets. This isn't about grief anymore. This is about governance. The court will have to decide whether the second will, rushed, questionably timed, and lacking the clear consent of all parties, was valid. If not, everything Erika has built over the past 2 months could collapse overnight. Legally, financially, publicly. And here's the kicker. Donors are already pulling out. A leaked email from a prominent TPUSA funder showed that several major contributors are reassessing their involvement pending the outcome of the legal dispute. Some are demanding audits, others are asking for refunds, and a few have begun donating to independent causes in Charlie's name, bypassing Erika's leadership entirely. One donor even posted on X, "We gave to Charlie, not to this circus. Until the truth is settled, we're out." So now, with her credibility crumbling, her leadership in question, and her finances under threat, Erika Kirk is scrambling. Internally, she's reportedly demanded loyalty pledges from staff. Externally, she's gone completely silent, her team issuing vague statements about honoring Charlie's vision while refusing to address the leaked will directly. But silence isn't working anymore. And with every passing day, more people are beginning to wonder, what else is Erika hiding? With pressure mounting from the leaked will, donor backlash, and a tidal wave of online outrage, Erika Kirk's once ironclad grip on Charlie's empire has started to show fractures. But just when people thought it couldn't get any messier, a third leak hit the internet. And this time, it came with video proof. Late one night, an anonymous source sent an encrypted file to a well-known independent journalist. That file, confirmed to be an unedited security feed, captured a heated argument between Erika and Charlie just weeks before his death. The video, taken from an indoor security camera in their Arizona home, showed a tense conversation. And while there was no audio, expert lip readers were brought in within hours, and the interpretations were chilling. According to multiple specialists, Charlie appears to be saying the words, "I told you, this is not yours. Don't make this about you." To which Erika allegedly responds, "If you won't plan for the future, I will." Even if the exact phrasing is debated, the energy of the confrontation is undeniable. Charlie looks angry, betrayed. Erika, on the other hand, looks calculated, unmoved. Some viewers said she even smirked during the last 5 seconds of the footage. That alone sent the internet into a frenzy. The video was reposted over 7 million times in 24 hours. Hashtags like "Chun Charlie tried to warn us," "Chew not her legacy," and "Edu let the will speak" began trending worldwide. And right in the center of it all? Erika Kirk. She had gone from grieving widow to internet villain in record time. But let's be clear, this isn't just a public perception issue anymore. The court filing submitted by Charlie's parents now includes a motion to freeze Erika's access to all Turning Point USA accounts and assets until the legal dispute over the will is settled. That means speaking engagements, travel budgets, new media deals. All of it could be temporarily blocked pending judicial review. But even more shockingly, Erika fought it. Instead of complying quietly, her legal team filed a countersuit, claiming the will leak was an orchestrated character attack, and that Robert and Kimberly Kirk were emotionally compromised individuals acting out of grief, not legal integrity. The filing accuses the Kirk family of wanting to reclaim a legacy they had long since abandoned. Those were fighting words, and they lit a match under an already raging fire. Overnight, the Kirk parents, who had been seen as calm and measured, released a rare public statement through their attorney. "Our son's work was his life, and we supported him every step of the way. What we are witnessing is not grief, it is a power consolidation masquerading as legacy stewardship. We will not stand by while Charlie's wishes are erased." And just like that, the line was drawn. What had once been whispers and speculation had become a full-blown civil war inside Turning Point USA. It didn't help that more and more former employees were coming forward, detailing what they now call Erika's Purge. Staff were reportedly asked to sign new NDAs within 10 days of Charlie's death. Some said they were pressured to hand over access to private files and emails belonging to Charlie. Others claimed they were ghosted, cut off from the organization entirely after expressing concerns about the new leadership. One former communications manager even said, "It wasn't a transition, it was a takeover." And Charlie never wanted this. That phrase became a viral tweet. And still, Erika didn't speak. Her silence, once seen as strength, was now viewed as guilt. And when she canceled her upcoming podcast appearances and pulled out of a major conservative summit in Florida, critics said it confirmed what they suspected. She was crumbling under the weight of exposure. But here's where things take a sinister turn. According to a report by an independent investigator, someone within Turning Point's inner circle allegedly attempted to scrub internal servers of all communications between Charlie and 3 of the people named in his original will. The investigator claims the action was caught mid-process when a staff member noticed file deletions happening remotely during off hours. The files were recovered. But the attempt alone raised a major red flag. Why would someone inside Erika's new team try to erase private communications, unless those messages contained proof that Charlie's original intentions were never to place her in charge? And if that's true, what else has been hidden? The situation has now escalated to the point that congressional watchdog groups are reportedly looking into Turning Point USA's nonprofit status, demanding clarity on who controls the funds, the mission, and the brand in light of the leadership chaos. What was once a conservative stronghold is now an organization under siege, not from the outside, but from its own fractured family. Meanwhile, the public has started digging deeper into Erika's background. Old clips resurfaced from pageant competitions where Erika spoke about controlling the room with poise. Others pointed to her brief military-adjacent role and questioned the authenticity of her resume. Some went even further, claiming that she had long planned to capitalize on Charlie's legacy to become a public figure in her own right. And the smoking gun? An old blog post, archived from years before their marriage, where Erika wrote, "Marrying the right man means stepping into power. I plan to leave my mark, even if it means rewriting a few things." Now, that could mean anything, but in this context, it's fueling the flames of conspiracy. And for some, it's proof that Erika was never just Charlie's wife. She was always waiting for her moment. And if that moment had to come after tragedy, so be it. The storm had been building for weeks, but now it was full-blown chaos. The public fallout, the lawsuits, the leaks, the threats to Erika's control over the very empire Charlie Kirk built. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared the internet for what happened next. Because the final blow didn't come from Charlie's parents. It didn't come from a whistleblower. It came from Charlie himself. In a stunning twist, an unreleased video recorded by Charlie just weeks before his death surfaced online. And this time, there was no question who leaked it. The watermark on the file? CK Legacy Archives for posthumous release. In the video, Charlie sat alone in what looked like his private podcast studio. No audience, no guests, just him, serious, focused, speaking directly into the camera. And what he said made jaws drop worldwide. "If you're seeing this, it means I'm no longer here," which, frankly, terrifies me to even say out loud. But I've learned to prepare for things I can't explain. There are forces, yes, even within this movement, that don't like when you say too much, and I've been saying a lot. The video, only 9 minutes long, is the most haunting message Charlie ever recorded. He talked about his growing unease with the direction Turning Point USA was heading. He spoke about internal struggles, unnamed people trying to commercialize the brand, push him out quietly, or twist his beliefs for profit. "There are people who smile at you in the morning and erase your name from contracts at night," he said. "They say it's about growth, but it's about control." And then, in the most damning section of the video, Charlie addressed the very issue now in legal dispute. "If I'm gone, I want my legacy to be protected. My parents know what I stood for. They know who I trusted. If any version of a will comes out that excludes them, ignore it. It's not me." That line exploded across every platform within minutes. Millions reposted it. Thousands clipped it. Memes were created. Entire threads were dedicated to breaking it down. And just like that, Erika's entire narrative fell apart. Because up until now, she had claimed, repeatedly, that Charlie had spoken to several executives and verbally expressed his desire for her to take over as CEO in the event of his passing. But Charlie's posthumous video destroyed that claim in a single quiet breath. He had left behind instructions, clear ones, and those instructions did not include Erika taking control. The backlash was immediate. Even some of Erika's last defenders, online influencers, public figures, and TPUSA insiders, began deleting tweets of support. Several went private. Others posted vague apologies for jumping the gun and supporting someone without knowing the full story. It didn't matter anymore. The court of public opinion had made its decision, and Erika was losing. Within 48 hours, the board of Turning Point USA called an emergency meeting. What happened behind closed doors hasn't been fully revealed, but, by the end of it, a formal announcement was made. Erika Kirk was stepping down temporarily from all executive duties pending a full internal audit. But sources say it wasn't voluntary. It was an ultimatum. And just like that, the woman who positioned herself as the future of TPUSA, the widow turned CEO, the grieving mother turned mogul, was suddenly out, publicly humiliated, legally entangled, and completely isolated from the very movement she claimed to protect. Charlie's parents released a second, far more emotional statement after the video surfaced. It read in part, "We wish this day never had to come. But our son's voice, his real voice, has now been heard. We intend to honor him not just as parents, but as protectors of his legacy. We will never let his work be rewritten by opportunists." And that word, opportunists, is now being used in every headline across the internet. But if you thought that was the end, think again. Because another lawsuit, separate from the will dispute, is now in development. This time, it's being spearheaded by former TPUSA employees who say they were wrongfully terminated during Erika's first wave of internal restructuring. They claim they were silenced, cut off, and, in some cases, defamed, simply for defending Charlie's original vision. The case? Kirk vs. Kirk et al. Yes, you read that right. Even legally, it's Kirk against Kirk. Legacy against reinvention. Truth against spin. And while the court battles rage on, Turning Point USA's once powerful image is crumbling. Sponsors are pulling out. Media partners are distancing themselves. Grassroots supporters are confused and divided. What was once a unified conservative juggernaut is now a battlefield of egos, betrayals, and broken trust. One of the biggest conservative radio hosts in America went on air and said, "You don't build a legacy in 2 weeks. You don't inherit a mission by marrying someone. You earn it. Charlie Kirk earned it. Erika sold it." The silence from Erika has grown louder and more unsettling. Her once active Instagram has been scrubbed. Her podcast postponed indefinitely. Private friends say she's retreated to a remote estate, avoiding cameras, press and confrontation. But for the internet, it's too late for silence. People are still dissecting every move, every clip, every facial expression Erika ever made during interviews. Clips from her smiling at Charlie's funeral, screenshots of her carrying on his vision, while planning rebranding meetings just days after his death. The evidence, or at least the perception of it, is everywhere now. And in a strange way, the internet has adopted Charlie Kirk's story as their own. Because this was never just about one man's death, it was about the war between authenticity and ambition, a movement created from fire and faith, now caught in a web of optics and opportunism. And in the center of it all was a man who saw the danger coming, but couldn't stop it in time. What remains now is not just a power vacuum, it's a reckoning. A reckoning for those who tried to manipulate grief into power. A reckoning for those who used Charlie's name for gain. And most of all, a reckoning for Erika Kirk, who now stands not just as a widow, but as the face of one of the most shocking posthumous takeovers in modern political history. But if you think this story ends here, think again. There are still sealed files. There are still witnesses. And one Turning Point employee, still anonymous, says they have the final message Charlie recorded before his death. A message that has never been seen. A message that might just answer everything. So, stay with us, because what Charlie really left behind is just getting started. If you thought this story couldn't go any deeper, think again. The will was just the beginning. Charlie's parents have spoken. The hidden files are surfacing, and Erika's grip is slipping by the day. But something tells us there's still one final twist the world hasn't seen yet. If that last unreleased video from Charlie ever drops, it could be the end of the lies, or the start of something even darker. So, if you're ready to uncover the next secret, don't just watch. Stay locked in. Hit that like button, drop your theories in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because we're not done digging. You deserve the truth, and we're going to find it, no matter how long it takes or how high the cover-up goes. See you in the next one.